now with approval ratings at an all-time low, 43%. What does the president have to offer when he tries to arm twist at these meetings?
I think it's more about what he has to threaten, Leland, honestly. And what he has to threaten is the idea that if these deals don't go through, it will really capsize his first term in a very significant way. President Biden's really playing for all the chips here. All his domestic agenda is jammed into these two bills, in essence. If they were both to fall, it's almost impossible to imagine him doing these things piecemeal. So basically, his appeal is, don't mess me up here, stick with me.
Juliegrace, I know there's been a lot of folks who've come back to Capitol Hill from the White House today. Any of them mention whether those threats work?
Now, I've spoken to multiple lawmakers. I know that on the progressive end of things, they absolutely are still standing by that they want to see the reconciliation bill come first. Now, on the other side, moderates are still kind of digging in. They're sticking with that September 27th deadline, despite progressives really pushing, saying that it's an arbitrary deadline. So it looks like right now that the bill on Monday is likely to go down.
All right, Niall, so that goes down. What's left in the president's arsenal, so to speak?
Well,
no, I mean, they could definitely still.
Ladies first. Go ahead, Juliegrace.
I mean, they could definitely still at a later date, I think, bring back up the bipartisan bill once the reconciliation bill kind of comes together and they're able to, I mean, if and when the reconciliation bill is able to come together, if they're able to get an agreement, the moderates in the Senate are willing to agree upon. But I mean, yeah, I think the progressives and leadership's push for those to pass kind of in conjunction with each other still definitely is a possibility, despite facing an uphill battle.
Yeah, I want to get to this in terms of what's happened, though, around all of this, is progressives have managed to take down or take out the funding for Israel's Iron Dome, which is their missile protection system, saves a lot of lives. Shooting down Israel's Iron Dome, Democrats pull funding for missile defenses that save civilian lives, is how the Wall Street Journal headlined it. Niall, this really proves now that the progressives, specifically the two most vocal Muslim members of Congress, are pretty powerful. Maybe are they more powerful than the Jewish lobby, the pro-Israel lobby right now?
I actually think it's more about a generational shift in a way among liberals, Leland. I think that for the current leadership of the Democratic Party, older, frankly, Democrats, there was a sense decades ago that Israel was more a cause of liberals. Generationally, that has shifted. I think you see a lot of more progressive people, irrespective of their religious identity, seeing Israel as more of an aggressor in the Middle East. I don't personally think it's anti-Semitic, but I do think that it is a very significant shift in how Israel is seen by people who broadly identify themselves as liberals or progressives or leftists.
Yeah. Perhaps the most charitable thing you could say is it's anti-Israel rather than anti-Semitic, but often the two go hand in hand. Juliegrace, you wrote a piece about this for the New York Post. Evidently, leadership sort of said to Israel, don't worry, this is going to come at a later time. But it does really beg some serious questions in terms of whether Democrats in Congress have Israel's back, doesn't it?
No, I've spoken to a lot of Democrats across the spectrum, even some very far left Democrats that were pretty outraged by that language being taken out of the bill yesterday. Now, that being said, Rosa DeLauro just introduced a bill that's supposed to pass as a suspension bill, which will only require 2/3 majority to be able to pass that funding. But there are a lot of concerns on how it'll play out politically, whether Republicans are going to hit them on that during the election cycle, and what it's going to do ultimately to foreign relations and what message it sends to the United States allies.
Yeah, no kidding, in who can capitalize on it. Niall, Juliegrace, great conversation. Thank you both. We'll have a lot to talk about next week, especially, Julie, as you point out. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure.